Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It all depends on your location. So, welcome back to our channel. So, today I want to touch on the issue of this Arewa's madness. It has to do with the release of a great man, Nnamdi Kanu. He has not been forgotten. You can never forget him, and neither should any harm before him in any guise. So, but my point here is that these Arewa people, whenever they hear that somebody is asking for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, they are always quick to react. They always have their different wings of whatever, things like that. You know, it's like to them, injustice, as far as it's, you know, it has to do with someone else that is not from their own region, then the injustice is binding, especially when that person is not within their own clique. You know, so they enjoyed it, they benefit from it, they feel more powerful with it. So ever since they kidnapped Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya and smuggled him into Nigeria, with drugs and things like that, they be feeling so powerful that they thought that Buhari's tenure will not come to an end. So, but now they know that they are losing the war, no matter what it is. So, but what I'm just praying is that they don't harm him, they don't kill him, they don't poison him, they don't useless him, or kill his organs and things like that with their poisons. Because these people are capable of anything, So, that is my prayer, for Nnamdi Kanu, for him to be healthy, hale and healthy, strong, and come out even stronger and bold, and even bolder than he was. Because what cannot kill a man can only make a man more stronger, right? So that is it. Here they said there's no guarantee killings will not stop, or will not, killings will not continue. The Arewa group opposes call for Nnamdi Kanu's release. I don't know when they think it will be, it will be the right time for them to, toe the same path with every other region and say, yes, this man should be released. Nnamdi Kanu have the right to say whatever thing that he said or that he's accused of. For calling for a state of Biafra, that one is a very legitimate call. I can call for a state of Midwest if I don't want to join Biafra and I don't want to join and it's what do you call it Western Nigeria, for example, the Oduduwas, for example. So if I am calling for a Midwestern state, which will consist of maybe partly Ondo and partly Delta and Edo and some other minority areas and stuff like that, and we say this is what we choose to, to have. Or if we choose to say the whole of the South that is now known as South today want to be, the Republic of become the Republic of, the Midwestern Republic, so be it. First of all, Nigeria has expired. The contract has expired. So everybody now have right to aspire since 2015. The contract that they said we have, because our forefathers never have any contract with these people. They forced a contract, they forged a contract, and they said, we signed a contract, to be with the rest of the country, could now call Nigeria, for example. So, but that contract lasted for 100 years. It has already expired. So, Nnamdi Kanu has been calling for a state of Biafra since 2015 or thereabout. So he was right on point. He knew what he was doing. It's not like he was just guessing. So he being detained right now does not mean that because he was that he's been detained that the wishes of the people will die. With his detention. No, that is not what Nnamdi Kanu even want. So no matter what happened, Nnamdi Kanu still want that Biafra to be realized. So by whatever means. So whether it's being realized as Biafra today, or it's being realized by North and South divide, for the start, then before Biafra break away, or Oduduwa break away, or whatever, or whether South, wants to break away, or they agree to live with the Biafras, or the Biafra agree to live with them, or they agree to live with the Oduduwas, and what have you, and things like that. So that is the case. This case is the North got to go, and the South have to go. The South needs its own space. If the Yoruba said, no, we don't want to go with Biafra, yes, they will have the right then to say, okay, yes, this is how we want it to be. We are going. You go your own way, and whatever. If you want to come to our own side, you need visa. If you have to come to your own side, we also need visa. So be it. They have their own sea. They have the Atlantic Ocean. We too, we have our own. So what do we lack? Nothing. They have their green area. We have our own green area. So they might say, oh, we are bragging because we have the petroleum, we have the coal mine and everything. So be it, because God gave it to us. So we should be proud of it. But first of all, you Nigeria, or the so-called Nigeria, has used this thing to polarize our own people, kill our own soils, kill our fishes in the ocean, degraded our own landscape and greenery. But we are ready to deal with that because we clean that up in due course. Even without oil, we don't even want to live with the North anymore. That is the truth. And neither did the North even want to live with us. The only thing that the North want from us, or wanted from us, is the petroleum. Greed. It's greed that is holding them. And for this greed, they are ready to spill blood. But we are saying, go your own way. We don't want you. It's not like we are cowards or anything like that. We are equal to the task. We are equal to the task. And for you, so-called middle bed or so-called middle betters, open your eyes. This symbol of Arewa, what does it actually mean? Have you analyzed it? Try to analyze it very well and see if that thing is actually for you or if it doesn't mean something else. Yes, because your so-called leaders are just bootlickers. They are bootlickers of the so-called, Arewa leaders, the top Arewa leaders, so-called Arewa leaders. You know what I'm talking about. So look at it very well and know where you stand. Because you are so confused, you don't actually know where you stand. But the only first time you ever took a stand that it tries to portray, or you try to have control over your own destiny, was during these last elections. But somehow, some of you still sold out. Because if you didn't sell out, then I don't think it will have been possible for them to be doing all this rigging right under the noses of your so-called leaders in your own areas. The same people that are killing you, the same people that you are running up to. So you will make up your mind. You have the time to make up your mind, enough time to make up your mind. So at the end of the day, then you will decide. So either you live with them by force, or they live with you, how they want. That's your own cup of tea. I can't decide for you. Let your own people speak up. So here I said the Arewa community is southern Nigeria. Forget about what is Arewa community is southern Nigeria. Just say the Arewa community, because whether you're talking from southern Nigeria or whatever part of Nigeria, you are representing your Arewa, and you are their mouthpiece. So the Arewa community in Nigeria has urged the federal government and President Buhari not to hit calls for the unconditional release of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. You have to put Manzi Nnamdi Kanu. Okay? So that it shows some respect. So because you don't choose to be called a doctor, professor, chief, and things like that, it doesn't mean you don't have to put at least Manzi Nnamdi Kanu. We value that, and we appreciate that. So his name is Manzi Nnamdi Kanu. According to the group, Kanu and its members are responsible for the killing of many innocent persons in the south, and there's no guarantee the killings won't resume if the IPOB leader is released. So for this one who is talking now, has the killing stopped? You've arrested Nnamdi Kanu now for the past 2 years, I guess. In summer now, it will be 2 years. Has the killing stopped? No. In fact, the killing has even, you know, been increased. So the leader of the Arewa community, Musa Saidu, who made the stand on the ground, that is, who made the stand of the group known in a statement on Tuesday, lamented that nobody is saying anything about those who have been killed. So who is those who have been killed? A lot of Igbo people have been killed. A lot of Southerners have been killed. So how many Northerners actually have been killed in the South? Handful. How many Southerners have been killed in the North? A whole lot. Or how many people have been killed in the North? A whole lot. In the Kaduna, for example, recently, it has become something else. They've been doing all these killings since from Borno. They now shift their base to Kaduna and start cleaning up the Christians in Southern Kaduna. Non-stop. And nobody has said anything about that. They kill a lot of Muslims also in the Northeast. Nobody is saying anything about that. Nobody read any religious, intonations to that. But when somebody dies in the South, and most Southerners are the ones inhabiting the South, of course, nobody cares. So, but if one other so-called foreigner is being killed or died in the South, whether the person is an armed robber or a thief, then they use that one as a political, jargon to blackmail everybody else or everyone else to try to play or dance, along that line that they want you to dance on. So this man is just saying all kinds of bullshit to me. These people are sometimes, this is what you get sometimes actually. When you have a society where you live with some people who cannot reason, or some people who wants to believe a lie, because that lie has been told over and over again, and they start to live on that lie, and start to believe in that lie, expatiate on that lie, and start to take that lie to another level. So when you start to argue with these kind of people, then you lose your head, or you lose your mind. So you cannot imagine the professor of law trying to explain what the section of the law means to an ignorant person, or to a fool, a complete fool, who don't even know anything about law, because that person will continue to say, but why? But why? But why? And yet he has been explained to over and over again on why and why and why. So at a point you say, well, if you don't understand it, then go ask someone else. Maybe someone who can explain to you better than I can. So that is the issue here. So this man is saying, he say where were they? Where Kanu was leading IPOB militants to kill innocent people in the Southeast. Can you imagine that? How can you be talking about Southeast? What do you know about Southeast? He said not only in the Southeast, so many members of the Arewa community were attacked in Port Harcourt, and nobody said a thing. He said we have the figures. They always have figures. All these fake figures they are talking about. How many Arewa people even live in Port Harcourt to start with? Or in River State? Was not the same River State that Wike deployed the military to go and kill Igbo people? Is Wike himself not an Igbo? To kill Igbo people that they called criminals, etc. Kill them, young men and women, without recourse to anything. So where were these people then? Were they also blaming the IPOB for all those killings, you know. So this man is just talking. He said, now they are clamoring for his release. What guarantee are they, or are they trying to give us that the killings won't continue if he's released? No guarantee, man, because it's like saying you have to release Evans. You know, Evans, the accused kidnapper, for example, and you are saying we should give you guarantee that there will not be any kidnapping anymore, or that Evans will not go and recruit other criminals to start doing other kidnappers to start kidnapping people because you know he has been released. There's no guarantee. So if for example, Nnamdi Kanu wants to be wants his own release from the government ever since, he would have made a deal ever since, right from the first 3 months. By now, he would have been out of that dungeon. But he has said it so many times, occasionally, that he wants Biafra. That he don't want, he don't want any other deal that is out of that. That he is not a partaker in that. You know. So that is just that is the issue. So don't think you can blackmail anyone now to try to go and force Nnamdi Kanu to sign some things that he will guarantee that there won't be any criminality going on in the south. You know, when it's released as whatever. Nnamdi Kanu is not a criminal and he's not a killer. I have never stood for that. He only wants the freedom of his own people, of his own race, to be out of that contraption called Nigeria, because Nigeria was not made by God. It was made by one so-called man called Lord Lugard and his girlfriend, not even wife. The man was not even married. He went to Nigeria with his girlfriend, and they have to name the place after the River Niger to start with, River Niger, you know, Niger River. Or then because they called that place again that time Niger area. Then the next is Nigeria, Niger area. Oh, okay, Nigeria, which is Niger area. That's the name we took. And we were so proud, like, oh man, what a beautiful name. Then we used to so Buba, Agbada, everything. Then some used to so Cap, join up. You know, Ashobi, everywhere you go. Niki area, you know. So that has been the this thing that is hanging on the necks of the citizens. That's why the weight of that heavy cross that the people are carrying is too heavy. So break the country into whatever pieces, whether in 4 or in 5s, you know, and let everybody go their own way and develop at their own pace. Nigeria will that region, that geographical area will prosper, you know, like we take off like a rocket into prosperity. They know that. The West knows that. So they brought everybody together and they make one foolish person, you know, to supervise you, you know, to sit upon you and you know, to be the one to detect what you do and what you don't do. And some say they don't want the other side to grow, and they don't want the other side also to lead them. Rather, they want to be, you know. So this is the thing: they want to be the leader at all costs and what have you, and things like that. Therefore, the country refuses to grow. Nigeria not growing means that Africa is not growing because they are dragging the rest of the black race backward. That is the truth. When Nigeria is made up of so many nations with great innovations on their head, you know, and all kinds of, you know, skills, you know, to propel a country into greater prosperity. They are doing it outside. They go to other people's countries and things like that. They show what they are made of. Every day, Nigerians are making it outside. They are showing what they are made of. Go to the top universities in the world, in any country, be it in USA or in UK, in Australia, anywhere in Canada, you see a top professor is a Nigerian. A top engineer is a Nigerian. In whatever field that you go, you see a Nigerian. You see in the business, the same thing. The top, if you see a black man leading, asking very well, you will find out he's a Nigerian. So we should be proud of that. And these Nigerians I'm talking about, they are not from the Arewa. If you see 10 Nigerians anywhere making the waves, check 8 of them are where? Southerners, or 9 of them, or even the whole 10. Except it's a place, a position where they use money to lobby and to push people in. That is why you see one Arewa there. And if you see that Arewa, maybe that Arewa is also coming from the middle belt. So all these ones they are just doing, in Nigeria today to show that they are in top leadership position. It's only when it comes to a federal and what have you, position where they say quota system, then you must take somebody from Arewa, you must take person from this and this and this and that, then you bring that person to the south to come and start heading NPA, etc. Or go to Warri Port or to any other government, federal government parastatals, and etc. That is the only time you see them leading because they cannot compete with the south. That is the fact. So they use their so-called influence to push them, even when they have nothing on their head. Then before you know it, you become the director of one thing, and the secretary knows better than what he knows. That's the only time you see them there, in that top positions. Or maybe there's a bank that is owned by that is owned by some top what have you and things like that who are from the north. Then they say okay, then they want one man from their own side. Then they nominate that man to be either the president of the bank. Not because he knows better. That is why somebody like what they call Sanusi, when he became a central bank governor the other time, that was why he was talking everybody talked, he knew what he was talking about. He knew nothing. At the end of the day, when he accused the federal government of stealing $12 billion, and they brought him straight to the Senate, to interrogate him, he started jittering. He started shaking. He started saying something else. He could not corroborate what he once said, in the pages of a newspaper. You think he can just come out there and just make one statement because somebody, writing for you and just blah 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 blah, etc. So the same thing. They feel over important, overindulge, etc. 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 When they get to a certain position and they start to play God. But giving one little test, you see that person have nothing on his head. That he was just being prepared to get to that position because he just come from a certain region, not because he knew better than the rest. Even a common clerk, at that central bank then, if you give it that position within 6 months, he will know better than what this man knew. So that is how they operate. So what I'm saying here is that you should not be intimidated by all this Arewa bullshit. To me, I'm not intimidated by them at all. I don't give a fuck when I hear about the way they talk sometimes. Say, So that is how they always are. Anything you bring up that will benefit the South, for example, that's how somebody will come up and say, no, it's not possible. In fact, when Nigeria asked for independence, during the time of when Nigeria were fighting the British to get their independence, it was the same Arewa people that stood up and said, no, we don't want independence for now. You can imagine that. Then they are the ones now. They are not ashamed. They don't have shame at all. They are the ones that will still come out now and start dragging over things and start dragging over things that they don't actually own and stuff like that. Asking to be compensated for what? You refuse to train your own people. You refuse to educate your own people. Then what's your problem with those who has invested the time and energy and finances to educate their own people? Educate yours to compete in the bigger world, not in that cocoon, circle of yours. So my people, these people they make you sometimes, they make you really sometimes go out of your, or want to go out of your head sometimes, because they don't know what they are saying. All they do is just talk. They talk for the sake of talking because they feel like that's what they should do. It's not supposed to be so. So let me show you a video of Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer. When he give a speech on the situation of things. So maybe this one will clarify your thoughts a little bit more.
We have told the Supreme Court to do the needful. The case has been adjourned to the 11th of May. But here is calling on President Buhari. Please, sir, on my bended knees, you can order the release of Nnamdi Kanu today. You can do it through the Attorney General of the Federation, who has the powers to enter a nolle prosecute, discontinuance of the cases. After all, there's even no case now. It's just being held illegally. Let him go. Let my people go. You don't have to wait for the Supreme Court decision. You don't have to wait to go on May 29. Let Nnamdi Kanu go.
So, as you can see, let my people go. That is the the case that we are fighting. Nnamdi Kanu should be released unconditionally. Not all this bullshit talk that the so-called Arewa is trying to make us believe, because they know that what they are doing is trying to buy time. At that time, we don't have. That time is what we don't have. So, let Nnamdi Kanu go. We are tired of all these shenanigans of theirs, because they always want to always find something to say, in order to distract everyone else, from the main point. So the main point is that we don't have much time, and Buhari himself don't have much time. So he knows what he's supposed to do. To me, he releasing Nnamdi Kanu now is just by trying to suit the mind, of the people who are on the side of the truth, because Buhari himself has already failed. To have held Nnamdi Kanu illegally for this long, he has failed already. So all this one that he wants, because when the later former information minister, later Amechi, an old man, went to him in Abuja then with Ezefe, former Anambra State governor, and so many other top leaders from the East. They went to beg this man then. What did this man say then? You remember? He said the court will rule on this issue. Anything that the court says, that he will go by. All of a sudden, he was surprised that the court said this man should be set free, that he have no case to answer. And all those while, he still head on to Nnamdi Kanu in detention. What kind of obsession do they actually have over this whole issue? It's like they have another kind of obsession. You understand? Knowing that, okay, now this is the strongest man, as far as that's in their own book, this is the strongest man that's emerged from the southeast so far, in our own time. So we are able to at least capture him or use his own person to betray him or deceive him, then entrap him and smuggle him to Nigeria, which is also a crime according to the international law. So now, the British, the Americans, no one actually pursued that case anymore. They knew that what the federal government did was an offense. The same thing that they tried to do that time to smuggle Umaru Diko, from UK airport to Nigeria. Because of that thing, Umaru Diko was granted asylum when he was later found to be in a crate. So he never came to Nigeria until so many years later. And what happened then? Umaru Diko stole money. He stole our money. So British knew that if this man would have been smuggled out, then definitely the money would be recovered. So they held him back. So because Nnamdi Kanu did not steal any money, that he kept in the UK bank and things like that, so it's like, well, we have nothing to lose in this case. Although it's our citizen, but then what can we do? We are getting more for the Nigeria government or the present Nigeria government than we can get from his citizenship. So they sacrificed him in the meantime. Then all of a sudden you hear this stupid Kathleen Luan or whatever they call her, a former British High Commissioner, was talking all kinds of bullshit the other time. But she never really did anything to help a citizen of the UK who has been illegally detained in Nigeria for no just cause, even when the Supreme Court or even when the court has already found the man not guilty. So to me, it's one of those scandals, as you can see. So it's one of those scandals. So we all sees it and we know, how it all went down. So but the thing is, now they are coming to the evening of their so-called administration, and people are still calling for his release, to use the power and the authority that he have, just to say, hey, release that man. Then in the next 2 hours, this man will be out of that dungeon. Then you see some other person coming out either from the east or west or north to say no, it should not be released, because if it's released, there's no guarantee that there won't be any more killing. Nnamdi Kanu is not synonymous to killings. Nnamdi Kanu's name, Mazim Nnamdi Kanu's name, is synonymous to freedom. Freedom of the Biafra race, and freedom of the southern Nigeria as a whole. So that's the way I see it. So whatever you think, please let me know, and please drop your comments. And if you've not subscribed to this channel, please do so, and God will bless you immensely. Thank you, and God bless you. Bye.